I knew when he was the quarterback for the Packers and I was on that team that we had a chance every year. And I think the Jets need to believe that each and every week.
I want to jump into some NFL talk with you, and we got to start with, of course, your guy, Aaron Rodgers. I know the Jets kind of look like they're falling apart, but what do you think is the overarching issue here when you do look at the Jets?
Yeah, they've been tough to watch. I'm not. I mean, everybody has said enough about them or how Aaron's been playing, but I just feel like it seems like a team that's just not clicking, not on the same page. At least when you look at the routes from Aaron throwing to certain receivers, and I guess that's forgivable when you talk about someone like Devontae, joining the team only a few weeks ago, and obviously not playing with. You expect to see that immediate chemistry that they had in Green Bay, but that's just not the case. And obviously they've got star power. They're fun to watch. Anytime you have that much talented athletes, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't know. It's just the defense hasn't been living up to the standard that Saleh had said. And obviously with his firing early on, it just it doesn't look good is all I'm going to say. But nobody's a bigger fan of Aaron than I am. And I'm pulling for him. And I was about to say, I know Bills are running away in that division, but maybe they have a chance to eke out a wild card. But I'm pulling for them.
Yeah, of course. And I think Aaron's loyalty to his friends is very apparent. Something that's very admirable. And he brought Randall Cobb to the team last season, and Alan Lazard. Now, of course, Devontae, like you mentioned. If he called, would you answer?
Hey, too much Crown Royal whiskey. I'll answer, but I don't know if I can make it. No. We tried to make it happen in Green Bay, but it wasn't happening. The power he had some pull, but not enough pull. That would have been awesome. But at this point, I'm too busy taking my kids to flag football and dance and gymnastics, so I'm good with where I'm at. A lot less stress. Well, actually, no, probably more stress than ever. But nevertheless, yeah, I'm busy right now.
Yeah. Joking aside, of course, what do you think that does say about Aaron, though, as a teammate, that he stays so loyal to his guys?
Well, I mean, as a teammate, it just shows that he's got their back, and I think more than anything, it's like, well, what does somebody like that say to the team? And I don't know if there's much you can say. I know that Aaron's been, what is he, in his 20th year, and, he's seen the highs and the lows, and it still is one of the greatest quarterbacks, or is one of the greatest quarterbacks, but still, he still has the ability to make all the throws that he needs to. So I don't know if there's much you can say. I knew when he was the quarterback for the Packers and I was on that team that we had a chance every year. And I think the Jets need to believe that each and every week. I can't speak for the locker room, but I know when Aaron is behind center, you've got one of the best and who's able to pull it out at a moment's notice. So we'll see what that means moving forward. You just hope that the chemistry of the team is continuing to build. But at this point in the season, it's hard to have faith.
Yeah. Obviously got to talk about some Packers with you. They had the bye this week, but they're in one of the tougher divisions in the league, and they're sitting in third place, but they are 6-3. Do you think they have what it takes to make the playoffs?
I think so. I definitely think so. I mean, they've shown flashes this year of eking out those close wins, of also, winning games handedly. Obviously, Love has been, I'm going to say, up and down as far as just being on the field, not so much his play. And defense is, playing well. So, like you said, it's a tough division. The Lions are in it, and they seem like the team to beat in the NFC. So, Minnesota's playing well, obviously, giving up a few lately. I think they squeaked out that one versus Jacksonville, but it's going to be a tight kind of fight to the end. But if they can get one of those wild cards, much like our Super Bowl run in 2010, it's all about who's the hottest team at that point, and perhaps they can have that momentum. And we saw that last year. And if it weren't for, a few plays in that San Francisco game, I mean, who knows where that season ends up. So they're exciting team to watch, and I see them in the thick of it at the end.
Yeah. What stood out to you the most about Jordan Love's growth and the quarterback he's become? Because I know we've seen so many of these young guys sit, and it's just like that development. I feel like people are realizing how important that is. So what have you seen the most from him?
Yeah, I mean, there obviously is something to it. I mean, you look with the transition from Favre to Rodgers, and now Rodgers to Love, and giving them those few years to learn and not just throwing them in the fire as you see with some of these guys, a lot of these guys really. I know the quarterback from Washington's doing a phenomenal job this year, but a lot of time that learning curve is too much for these kids to handle. So that being said, he just looks to continue to progress. and doesn't shy away from making the throws. I want to say there was a game where I think he threw 3 picks, but also threw like maybe I think it was Minnesota where he had like 5 touchdowns there and some crazy amount of yardage. So, and that's what we saw from, of course you're going to have the comparisons from Favre and Rodgers, but that maturity of making those throws and then eliminating the turnovers, which I think is the next step in this. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, he is and has looked like the quarterback of the future.
Yeah. And you mentioned Minnesota, but Sam Darnold's been out here, I feel like really showing up, all the haters that said he wasn't going to do this or that. But are you equally as surprised as the rest of the world how well this team is doing?
No, I was, I got to see Sam Darnold when, obviously being a USC alum, I watched him when he was in college, and I thought he was the surefire #1 pick, and I want to say he was. And we just talked about, starting a rookie quarterback and, certain organizations, but obviously he's looked really good. And so you put a good cast and crew around him, you do have some good coaching, and I think he shows his true ability. So Minnesota's always been buttoned up. They've always done a great job organizationally. So I know I'm probably paying some Packers fans to hear, but nevertheless, it's the truth. And so it's exciting to see, especially, being a fan of the NFC North and understanding those rivalries.
Right. Obviously, the Lions are killing it right now, sitting at 8-1. They're coming back from a huge deficit on Sunday Night Football. What do you, or do you think they have what it takes to make the Super Bowl this year or this upcoming year?
I think everybody thinks they have what it takes. I mean, from the top down, the mentality. I mean, just the sound bites that pop up in my Instagram reels. I'm like, I think, hey, this coach is the real deal, And then I think, yeah, right. And then you've got the players. I was just talking about this with Amon-Ra walking into Green Bay with, kind of, throwing a rock at the Hornets' nest or just wearing the Green Bay Sucks shirt, which I just think shows a lot of times you don't want to make those headlines. But when you're willing to, kind of do that and then go out there and back it up, I think it speaks to the moxie and the resilience of those teams. And they were playing really well last year. Truth be told, I forget how their season ended. But nevertheless, I think they've got what it takes. But then switching over to the AFC, they've got the Chiefs. And that's why I think the regular season is great. It allows you to set certain records and achieve certain goals. But the real fun is when the playoffs start because, I mean, you know how it is. After those 60 minutes, obviously, you're gone if you lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The last team in that division, the Bears, were you under the impression Caleb Williams could save it all in Chicago, or is this kind of inevitable for a quarterback out there?
Well, speaking of USC quarterbacks, I was excited after watching him, at SC and what he was able to do. And I actually just found out that they made an offensive coordinator change over there this morning. So that'll be interesting to see what that does. But I don't know. I mean, without being too pessimistic, they haven't had a good, they haven't been able to produce a good quarterback in some time. And that's not to say they don't have the talent, these guys coming in before him. And I hope Caleb really takes off. I know, being a former Pac-12, Pac-10 guy myself, to see the Washington player come out with him as well. I was hoping for that rivalry between them and the Packers to be renewed, but seems like we're going to have to wait on that. So hopefully, I don't know what it is, just for speaking as a fan who enjoys the rivalry, hopefully they can pick it up. But I know as a purist, I'm not losing any sleep over that.
Hey, sports fans, if you want to see more conversations with athletes and stars, check out these videos right here and be sure to subscribe for more from USA Today Sports.